Hello, everybody. It's Isaac Smolden, the production manager here at my house, giving you another monthly update. This time for the month of August. As always, I'm joined by our glorious leader, Michelle Overstreet. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Isaac.
So this time we're only like 5 days late because like we just talked about on the My House podcast, this is the first day that both of us are back in the office in August because we just got back from the National Conference on Ending Homelessness, which we won't go into here because you can listen right now to the whole episode of the My House podcast that we did about that conference. A lot of good information in there about what that conference was like and, you know, some of the stuff that we have coming out of that conference and our kind of approach, what our approach was going into it. So go listen to that now.
It's exciting.
It is exciting stuff. I'll go ahead and just keep moving forward with the podcast stuff for this month. Diag Nonsense coming out Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we're going to have a new episode, either of My House Podcast or Diag Nonsense. I think all the way through the end of the month, we were talking about if we were going to need to take a break for that last week, because I'm going to be off for like a week and a half. But I think we actually have a couple guests lined up, and Diag Nonsense, we did like we knocked out 2 episodes in one recording session because we had 2 topics that we really wanted to touch on. So, and we have a guest coming on for My House podcast this month. So I think we're going to be A-okay. Look for episodes the entire rest of August. And then probably like early to mid-September, Redemption and My Voice will be coming back as well. So stay on the lookout for all of that. Michelle, what events do we have coming up this month?
Well, the 31st, there's the International Overdose Day and awareness celebration that the Mat-Su Opioid Task Force is quarterbacking. John Green and Michael Carson have put a lot of thought into this, and it's going to culminate in the dedication of our memorial garden, which is a garden that is dedicated to those who we lost too young. Most of them from overdose, but there are also some human trafficking survivors in there that were murdered and young people that we lost too soon. So we'll be dedicating the memorial garden that day as well. And we'll have some plaques that will dedicate the garden itself. Holly Getline is here, and so she designed the sculpture called Pathway to Liberation. That's the centerpiece for that memorial garden, and so she'll be here to say a few words. And she's also hosting an art camp that starts next week.
Yeah, on the 8th, right?
On the 8th.
It's like Monday.
So if you've got a young person who wants to have somebody who has done art installations all over the state and that is so well represented for the Mat-Su Valley, but who has been in Fiji and Hawaii and has really done art.
She gets around.
She has done some incredible things. And so it's a chance for young people to do an art camp with her and spend 4 or 5 days just immersing themselves in that creative process. And they will make an art piece for the drop-in center here. Last year, their project was the Memorial Garden centerpiece, the Pathway to Liberation, and they did mosaics on the birds that are flying up through the rings that are part of that installation. So lots of fun stuff that is kind of intertwined. The big news on the International Overdose Day celebration is that we do have a barbecue in Nunley Park. Bacon is better than
drugs. Free
And
bacon cheeseburgers
Yeah,
provided by the cafe. You'd
Yeah.
be crazy not to stop by and at least get a bacon cheeseburger and hang out for a little bit.
Free bacon cheeseburgers. And what's the time frame on that? Do we know the time frame?
I think we're starting right up at noon. So setup is like 10 o'clock or something like that. But I think the bacon cheeseburgers start flowing at noon.
Yeah,
So
like
stop
12
on by.
to 2 on the bacon cheeseburgers.
I think it's 12 to 4, actually.
Oh
like,
my
I think you've
gosh.
got a huge window. Although if I'm wrong about that and it is 12 to 2, Melissa's going to kill me. So maybe I'll double check before I edit this episode. But I think it's 12 to 4. So yeah, stop on by. There'll be the events and the speakers will be presenting, I think, starting at 4 around that time up until 7. So if you want to be involved in that aspect of it as well, then maybe stop by a little bit later because all that's going to kick off later in the evening.
You know what? One thing I want to say about that event is that we've always done on January 10th, which is the anniversary of Kelsey Green's death, John Green's daughter. And we've always done an event on January 10th where we read the names of all those who have passed away from overdose. And, it's like 250 names every year. It's the most devastating event. and the first 2 weeks of January, we're all just weeping and grieving those that we've lost. And so I'm really proud of our Matsu Opioid Task Force on some of the awareness projects that they're doing. And this is one of those that really raises the bar and brings positive things into focus for prevention and awareness.
Right.
The bacon cheeseburgers,
you got to have the hope in there.
You got to have the hope. You got to have some positives. And so just helping people to be aware, opening up our memorial garden for those who want to have a flower or a plant and a plaque that represents their loved one, and a bacon cheeseburger. Okay, well, that is all I have for the month of August. So we hope you all have an excellent rest of your month, and we will see you again in September.